playback of Mathematic 2. The game actually got to name them. Big Bute is a Highland cleric that we found in the game. It's a good name. And, the fact that he has 69 hit points is a coincidence, but it's still a pretty funny coincidence. We've entered the code. Because of your superior intellect and diligence, you have saved Kron and all of its warrants. This ship, created by the ancients, is a grand experiment designed to populate this distant world. Prepare to beam down in Might and Magic 3. It's here, on the floor. I didn't see it. Thank you, my friends. You have banished chaos and rejected the false path of uncompromising order. Under the weight of the evidence and from the skilled pressure tactics of your lawyer, Lucas breaks down and admits to their crime. Congratulations, Ace. I think we're having a real moment here. I've changed my mind. I can't give her up. You can have your money back. How could I sell something so dear? Then again, a deal's a deal, right? Right? Catch you later. Good luck. Enjoy. I'm out of here. Let's pick up the bottle of grog here. Pick up the root beer. Use the root beer with the jug. Apparently root beer works very well. We get to see an instant replay. And a view from the blimp as well. I wonder what would happen if I tore the leg off this thing. Ark.
You have a resume. Madre de Dios, es el cuello diablo. Come on, I'm ready for you.
Yeah. Here it goes.
Enter visualization request.
Let's try it in the other order.
Circuit code accepted. 6452331 recognized. Beginning message.
Grand experiment of the ancients to use the technology of elemental manipulation to create a completely viable ecological and social microcosm. This microcosm was then to be transported to a distant biosphere, Terra, to supplant its indigenous ecosystem. The need was acknowledged for a central controlling unit capable of compensating for expected anomalies.
Well struck. That looks like a fatal blow.
Yeah, die.
My death will not save you from our wrath.
Are you going to plug me into Link, sir? I hope you know what you're doing.
Yeah, have no idea what we're doing. But,
Something is happening, I think. Yes, I'm gaining control. I found my destiny, Mr. Foster.
goals in the middle. Perhaps we didn't even need to know that. The yellow crystal is over on the left side. And the blue one is on the right side. Switch to Annie. Have her pull the lever to close the trapdoor. Have her push the switch on this side. Switch to Zack. Have him push the switch on this side. On our way through this wall. Another mini boss. Welcome guys and gals to part 8 of our little development project. See if I can put some music on in the background here. Have the sit in the game turned off. Would you like a dime? I would. I have some coffee as well. Might have a piece of thyme and some chocolate. Cheers. I fired up the game, not necessarily because we are going to be looking at the game very much. Let's see. This is supposed to be like this. And this is supposed to be like this. That's the 40 column. That's the 80 column. That's the development. That's the Windows Services for Linux window, so that works. That's a OneNote. Seeing a bit of screen real estate, but otherwise seems to be doing okay. it a little bit more in this direction. That's about it. Okay, everything is set up, ready to go. Let's give some thought as to what it is that we're going to do next. We weren't here last time. Game is largely allowing us to walk around in our little maze. It actually has sit music, although I've turned it off for now. So you can now walk around in this little maze that we've created. And, it's interactive and working, so the game loop is running and the sit player is running and so on. The game doesn't do very much of anything right now, except for this. So the next plan is to give some thoughts to the next steps. We had already, let's probably just zoom in on this a little bit, expand this like this as well. It's already given quite a bit of thought in the in the early stages as to what it was that we wanted to do here, and both in terms of the map and now perhaps also in terms of the characters, which is probably the next step now before we get any further on with everything else. So we need a way to map that into memory, and we also then need a way to save things to disk. We need a way to create a save file, and a save file in such a way that we can also just extend on that later on, so the save doesn't become incompatible somehow. And, we had already decided that we were going to have up to 6 different characters and up to 2 hired or found characters. So for a maximum of 8. That at least was the original plan. The thinking was then to we need to figure out how we could right now. The first thing perhaps is to realize how much actual space we have on the display to fit the characters in, because that goes right into deciding other things like how long can the characters' names be and so on, and what other information can we actually fit into the messages box, which is currently called messages, but when you reach this point in the game it really shouldn't be called messages. I'm going to jump into the code just a little bit here at the start. Going to peek into the variables a bit. these are all these are null terminated strings, so we manually add the 0 at the back of the routine that it's printing to the window, making the window uses the 0 to know where to stop printing. I have a little string length routine that I wrote that basically just uses the 0 byte. Saves us from having to tell all the functions how long the string is. You can just set the string and add the 0 at the back, and it can automatically stop when it reaches the 0. And that's what we're going to do here. Window title 6. We should probably call this window messages, right? Window actions. Window battle. Window welcome. Window party. Window game. A little regret this, but I think it's better to have it descriptive. There's the main. So this is window game. What did we call this? This used to be 3, so it's actions. It's probably not going to compile, but see, probably missing a little bit. Macros as well. Yeah, here it is. Right, that's clearing out the messages box. The title of the window will not always be the same. That's probably a bad idea. Come back to this. For now, we'll use the party string. Built at least. Hey there, Longshanks, welcome in. You're listening to Björk, yeah. I've been good. I hope you've been well. I'm slowly prepping our venture into this game right now. Let's see. At least it compiled. That's good. It's good when things compile. Yeah, we've been working on this project for a bit. It's called the secret of Hyperborea. Right now it's just a pseudo 3D maze viewer with a little bit of sit music. Maybe at some point it will actually be a game. At least I'm hoping it will. See. Right now I'm trying to figure out how much text we can actually fit into the bottom window. Okay, at least it has the correct name now. Now let's see if we can't put some text there. Sort of needs reminding right now. It's been a while since I worked in this part of the code. Yeah, that's right, we need to draw text. Did we have this macro before? Let's see what we do with this. Obviously the game won't start in the middle of the dungeon somewhere, but you will have to start in some sort of mode where you can create and load your party and so on. For all intents and purposes now, let's just create a few dummy characters and put them on the screen so we can see how it actually looks when we draw it. I'll just make some actual strings here. Eventually this will have to be somewhere in memory. So it will be dynamic, but for our purposes now, let's just make up some interesting characters. We'll create a total of 8 because that's what we set ourselves to be pretty much the max when we started this. So it will be 2 hireling characters and 6 party characters. need a good clerical name. What's a good clerical name? They're doing okay, Longshanks. I hope you and yours are doing fine as well. Okay, we have 8 character names. See if we can't put them on screen. Draw text. 3/1955/57. Now we need to move a bit in the other direction. The question is, how long can this realistically be? How many characters is this to start with? Is this the longest one that we have? Right now it's basically 20, right? Assuming it's 20, so we start here at we need to give 20 and we need a little bit of space as well. So realistically 25 maybe. Put 5, 6 here. And we put the hirelink 1 and 2 here. Let's see how this actually looks before we proceed any further. something broke now. Can't really figure out what exactly. Crossing here at 2146 for some reason. See whether they're running into some limitations with the size, which could be the case. It's not entirely impossible. I would have thought we were still safe, but behaves the same. Let's try. I'll comment out some of the new strings that we just added. See if that helps. Doesn't. It's the same now as it was before we did this, right? Let's see, let's copy some of this text out. Do a lot of undoing. This is now as it was. See if that changes anything. The answer to that question is no, it does not. compiled the game at this stage. We got it working, so... Right. Super weird. Where exactly is it crossing? At 2146, which is just a text. Why is it crossing with a single text? This is one of the utility routines early on in the startup code. Why is it stopping there? One F, one E is here. It's where things start. There's nothing wrong with this code. Then it jumps into this subroutine here at 2156. Yeah. That's just correct. How does it then end up at 2146? Does the stream on your side still say something about Might and Magic? It should not. Oh, this didn't change. Sorry, should be in the right category now. Some issue with OBS, it doesn't always want to change the category for me. I have to reload it sometimes to get it to do that, and it comes up with the wrong category, and I change everything again and it doesn't fully update. This issue on Saturday as well. I haven't dared to update to version 28 of OBS yet. I probably should at this point. But why is this behaving like this now? Why is it at 2146 to begin with? It really shouldn't be there. It should be jumping into 1F1E. Then it should be jumping into 2156, which doesn't do any of this stuff. Maybe it's branching here. Still doesn't explain why it's doing this at all. This is annoying me right now. See it on the 80 column screen. It gets halfway done clearing the 80 column screen, then it jumps into 2146 and crashes. Sort of need to figure out what exactly is at 2146. What subroutine is actually sitting there. Take a look at the utils map. something that starts exactly 21:46. Guessing the routine starts slightly earlier. No, does not. Probably starts at exactly 21:46. Question is then, what exactly is there? Tags followed by B&E followed by an RTS. Let's follow this a bit. It's not here. Can't really be here either. B&E to 21.3A. What's there? Seems to be going through this. So it's roughly here when it It's roughly at 2146 when it crashes. I just can't really understand why that is. I know what it is now at least. It's clearing the wick screen. It's roughly where it's crashing. What's here basically? Where is that code? Here. Yeah, this is what it is. It's fairly sure this is what we're looking at. Right. We go further back. Right. This is the code we're looking for. What's crashing here? The better question now is, what is this routing doing at this address? This routing belongs to the graphics pack. We need to figure out whether it's actually this instance where it's being called, or whether it's happening in the init itself, which could be the case as well. It's probably happening in the init because we haven't seen anything being printed to the screen yet. And why is that the case? And how did this break all of a sudden? We started the stream by compiling and running the code and it was perfectly fine. Now it's completely screwed up. Well, the graphics subroutines are supposed to be starting at 4K and ending around the 8K mark. The UTIs are supposed to be starting at 2800. This code that we're looking for should definitely not be that it's actually being called. Why is it there? This is the correct starting address at least. So it's being assembled and linked correctly. So is this, it's starting at 2800, which seems correct. This is starting at 1C01. Okay, if we just manually go here, hard reset things. Fun little debug. What are we listening to? This is something called Heva. It's a part of the Pretzel easy listening guitar music set. It's pretty nice. Particularly when you're dealing with something that is heavily bugged, obviously. I don't know even why it's so bugged. Let's do something now. Let's manually load the graphics routines into memory. File not found error. That is interesting. So that's the problem. It's not actually in the correct directory. That's why it's screwing up. Can't find the routines. Okay. That at least means there's actually nothing wrong with the game itself, which I suppose is nice. It also means we spent like half an hour debugging something that isn't actually broken. Guess we'll live with that. Have to run this little routine again. Fine, be like this. Okay, let's get back to the task at hand. Stop debugging things that aren't broken. I might have accidentally auto-started the PRG instead of loading it, which would have made it issue some sort of virtual D64 which doesn't contain the added modules that also need to be loaded. That's one of the potential reasons why this has broken in such a way. So let's now do what we were originally planning to do. Add the characters back in here. Copy this, please. please. Paste this, please. Fine. Be like this. Comment this back in. Paste this back into main. Roughly here. Comment it back in the game again. Reset as C64 or 128 to be exact. All things again. Run. Felgur the third, a lot of boss and Par, Robert the Hooded, Daylight Robbery, Holier than Thou, Hexia the Tricks, Harkon the Great, and Hong Kong Fooey. Why are we having this issue? Probably because the length is actually wrong. The length of the text is wrong. It's overwriting. It's not 55 characters wide. So it's supposed to be 20, right? My thinking here is a little bit that we might be able to get away with actually having some commands at the end there. Yeah, I think you can also execute this command yourself. I think the bot always allows you to do that. Do exclamation mark song and it will always print whatever Pretzel is actually doing. If you have the free version of Pretzel, you're required to basically announce it automatically, but since I have the premium version, I can just do it when I want to or not at all. Load the game up again. I fixed the length. At least I thought I fixed the length. Maybe I didn't. did. I think we need to look up the parameters to this macro a bit here. This is the width and the height. Okay. This is the starting X chord and the starting Y chord, and then followed by the width and the height. Makes more sense. It's definitely not 5 in width, it's just 1. We can also see that it's getting chopped off a bit. It needs to be more than 20, it needs to be at least 21, probably 22 actually. It also means that this needs to be slightly further along, something like this. No, this is how we broke things earlier. Let's see. Reset. Falcon the Third, Atlanta was in par, Robin the Hooded, Daylight Robbery, Holier Than Thou, Hexated Tricks, Harkon the Great, Hong Kong Phooey. Okay, now we have all 8 characters there. Doesn't really seem like you could actually fit anything next to any of this. That wouldn't really make sense, would it? There isn't a lot of room here. We do, however, have the bottom line still. Because one of the issues that will arise here is that when a battle commences, take a look back into the AT column display. If we were to start a battle at some point, we would like to use what is currently being used as the actions box for a monster list and a list of commands that you can do during combat. That would mean that we would probably be able to use the bottom line here for the commands that can actually be given. I think that would probably work. This is fine when you're not in battle, but when you are in battle, you probably need a way to actually list what is possible to do there. This is obviously not enough either. We need the number of the character next to it. So we do need a little bit of, need more space. Let's see. $27 and $47, so if we do decide to limit ourselves to 20 character names, which does seem decently generous, then we can still easily fit this. Just do this manually now. It looks something like this. It looks something like that. And then we go back here. We've added quite a few characters, at least 3 of them, so we give it 25 total to be able to fit everything there. And then we would need to start if we started 33, that should be roughly, the screen is a total of 60 characters wide. So we start at 3, which is 1 character away from the border. The border takes up the first pixel, and then we start again at 33, which should be roughly in the middle of the screen, slightly less. Might also need to be 32. Just check how this actually looks. Can very quickly see how it looks. Let's fire it up. That actually looks pretty good. The kerning of the font leaves a little bit to be desired, must be said. That's our own fault. This is a bitmap font that we imported and kerned ourselves. I see they were also missing a letter from a lad that was in PAL. Assuming that's 1 letter longer than the other one. Yeah, it is. It's 21 letters actually. I suppose 21 is still fine. And even slightly more, right? I do think that 32 is probably closer to the middle. 33 seems to be reaching a bit. That we can. Extend this a little bit. Doesn't need to be 20, it can be a little bit more. Can be a little bit more, not a lot of. Does this end 54? This is 55. stretch this at least one further. So if we say 22 or so. That's 22, right? Starts at 34, ends at 56. It's 22. This also ends at 56, right? This does, okay. I'll add a little bit more to this. Let's add 3 more. We'll start at 32. This should now be bridged almost to the end of the display. I say we use whatever space is available. Yeah, we can still make this work if we... This is too far. Reaches into the border here, but we can back it off by 1. And then it will be pretty much an exact fit. I think it will still look pretty good. Let me just do that right now. Rebuild. Reset the 128. Load it again. Basically, so we'll come in. Is it? How's it now? Sometimes hard to realize, but based on the or the volume meter, it really shouldn't be. The music should be fairly low. Did it not back off, or is it still... I'm trying to see how long the character names can be without causing issues. Seems to be about 21 characters, give or take. Need to back it off 1 more, it seems. Maybe do this instead. Yeah, I think that's actually pretty good. So my thinking now, Gleaser, is that if we have 8 characters max and we fit 4 and 4 like this, we still have the bottom line, and that we can use that to put some commands, some keyboard shortcuts at the bottom. Then we can reuse the actions window when we're in battle for a list of the monsters. Potentially something else as well, since it's actually pretty long. There are still some things that need to be added to the actions box. One of them is the direction we're facing. Which is important. That's one thing, but potentially something else as well. The actions obviously change based on where you are as well. But when you're in battle, my thinking is that we'll use the actions box for a list of the monsters. That basically requires us to be able to do something like this. So I'm happy with how this is turning out. I think this is looks pretty good, actually. I think we'll stick to this. Now, let's get back to some pseudocode. I spent a long time debugging a thing that wasn't broken here earlier, Gleaser. Accidentally removed the modules from the game, so I couldn't actually load all of the code. We spent ages trying to figure out why. It was just my fault. I screwed up the emulator so it couldn't find the file. That was good. Okay, so we had already decided on the 8 characters. So what is it that maybe not entirely. We might change a couple of things back and forth, but there are obviously things with the engine that I do like, and probably also things that I don't like. And, I think we both know we both have a decently long list of things that we don't like, but we also probably have a decently long list of things that we do like. So we'll borrow what we do like, and we'll not do what we don't like, and try to figure out ways of doing something that we prefer doing instead. But, I think a party of 8 is reasonably big. Most of the earlier CRPG games really only have 6 is very common. No, not the randomness is one thing. The super randomness is another. I'm not, for example, a big fan of the. Let's take, for example, a spell in Might and Magic 6, the implode spell. It's perfectly reasonable to me that a spell can do a varying amount of damage based on a dice roll. That seems perfectly normal. You roll a dice and you get something like a 12 and you do an X amount of damage. What isn't reasonable to me is that the damage can vary from something like 4 hit points to 80. That seems like an insane amount of variance. So I would say that the minimum damage should always be reasonably high. So if you're at a high level and you cast a spell, the minimum damage should be something like 40. Have you seen the map editor that I made, Gleaser? I can show you the map editor. That won't take very long. Here's the map maker. I have the map that we're running around in. It's here. So you can see that by default every square is basically empty, and then you can have something that is a solid wall, and you can have something that is a door, and you can have something that is a fake wall. That's basically all the different types that we have at the moment. I doubt I'll be adding much more. It's already complicated enough, so to speak. But in this particular editor, you can just load up the editor. You can click on any square that you want, and you can change it to a solid. And, sometimes it does this, which is fun. Some sort of interesting bug. So you can make this little box here, for example. I have no idea why it does this sometimes. So, for example, if you did this, yeah, that's the next step. All the editor really does now is just draw the map, but we still have a few bits left over, and that's what we'll do with the rest of the bits. The solid is basically bit 7, the door is bit 6, and the fake wall is using essentially bit 0. So we have quite a few bits left, and one of the things that will be done is to be able to click into the square and select whether there is some sort of action and what sort of action it actually is, and then you'll be able to select from a list what action actually happens on that square. That's what we'll do with the rest of the bits in this particular bike. So this is just the start of the map maker. I've already given some thought as to how we can extend that. So theoretically, you should be able to have some sort of action on every square. Yeah, that's one of the fun bits is that with the monsters we will need different sort of attack patterns. We will probably have to set at least some sort of level. So if you click a square and you decide that every time you go to that square you will be attacked, we will have to pick a level of attack, and then we will probably have to pick a type of enemy as well. So we'll have to group the enemies into different types somehow. And one thing that I had in mind when I was doing this is that I will probably have I will keep track of which one of the bits needs to be whether we've actually visited that particular square before, and I would like to be able to set when you enter a certain square, I would like to have different actions for a square that you've never visited and a square that you've already visited. So the game will have to save along with a map. It will have to save whether you've already visited that particular square before or not. I haven't fully decided whether we will save that particular information for every single map, because that would make the save file slightly bigger, but at least the current map. So if you've been in a dungeon for a bit and you run into some sort of encounter, it won't encounter again, at least in that particular scenario. And maybe for some things like the towns, for example, we will save all of the information with every save file. So you have been into the town or you've done all of the fights, so you can safely walk through the town without keep getting attacked and so on. That's at least the thinking so far. Since we've already done the 3D view and we can walk around, and we can start focusing on the fun parts. I don't know how long it's been, but you can sort of see that you can at least walk around now, go into the maze and turn around and do a circle and so on. It's starting to look like a game. Yeah, it would make some of the dungeons harder. I'm sort of wondering how difficult we should make this, at least for the towns. I don't have an issue with just saving the state of every square. We don't have to keep going through things, and that also means that we can have a helpful interaction with the player for certain squares, and give him some information that we all only have to give him once. So you don't run into the same characters every single time and so on. We can help the user along a little bit for his first visit into a certain town, but then afterwards, when he goes back into it, we'll remember that he hasn't been there. Just have to see how the shapefile shapes up and how much actual space we have. For now, I'm sort of focusing on the characters. I could do that, yes. I think it's easier though if we just set certain squares where you'll always be attacked. It's much easier to code in the map. Let's see. Let's go back to the node cam a bit. We had already decided on all sorts of things here. Well, not decided, we had come up with some ideas. So if we have 8 characters, 6 player characters, 2 hirelings, and for each character you obviously need the name, and based on what we've done so far, that needs to be, what did we say that it needed to be? It needs to be 22 plus the 0, so 23 bytes. Might as well say it has to be 24 to leave it at that even boundary. Okay. Let's see how we could map this. For every character, the character needs a name. We'll reserve 24 bytes. The last used byte needs to be a 0, so we know that the character name is over. And we have all sorts of other information that we potentially need to store. We had some ideas here already. And roughly map this out. Then we have these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 of these character, what should we call them, attributes. Character attributes: might, intellect, personality, endurance, speed, accuracy, luck, and class. Now here comes the fun bit. It is significantly simpler for me to, since the 6502 really only does 8-bit math, really. I'm somewhat drawn to doing this in binary coded decimal instead of doing this, writing this as a number, because when you need to print this information, which you do need to do on a fairly regular basis, because the thinking is when you press the number of the character, it will automatically just view that particular character, and then you'll be able to see his might and intellect and personality and so on. If we do that, then being able to display it directly without having to convert the integer to a printable form saves a lot of time and a lot of complexity in the coding. Although you could just write a utility to do it once. You could do that. You could write a utility to do it once. I will put a question mark here. If it's if we store these as BCDs, which you could do, then the max value is 99. That's the maximum value we could theoretically print. That's the race is comes slightly later here. The class barely belongs here, but put it there anyway. If we put it in BCD, the max value is 99. If it's just if it's an unsigned integer, it's basically 255. It is potentially because I don't see a problem with these particular values, because these values can never be a negative number, so we don't need to worry about that, but we do need to display them very often, so it's we do need to be able to change them with weapons and equipment and so on, so we need to be able to update that and print it out. Yeah, we could put that into the same byte, but potentially that would mean a headache of trying to figure it out, splitting it up and so on. And, assuming we store all of this information in a single byte, which we'll do anyway, then we've used 8 bytes here. So the attributes total are 8 bytes, so we've already used 32 bytes. And we had some idea of the class already. We had made up some basic classes that we might be able to use. We could put the class in the lower nibble. We could put the race in the higher nibble. So that's reasonably easy to figure out. What else do we have? We have the gender as well. We have the gender as well. Okay, we can use the how many of these skills have we already put in? How do we make things easier for us? We need to be able to figure this out easily. If we use a single bit for each of these, then we can have 16 skills. We can use 2 bytes for the skills. So we just use an OR to figure out the value of each skill. Reasonably easy to do. We use 16 bits for this. We've already picked up something like, I think we already wrote down something like 13 different skills. That leaves 3 additional skills that we might be able to add and still keep it with the 2 bytes. I haven't used 3 of the bits here. And then there's the spells. My thinking is that we don't particularly there is a slight issue here because we've already decided that the druid basically gets basic skills from both the clerical and sorcerer end. So simple thing would be to just reuse it and just have it point to different spells for a different class, but if we want to be able to have characters that are able to access both of the classes, which I think is actually pretty interesting. It's an idea that came up in the first stream when we were sort of brainstorming this. Then we need a separate set. I think I limited myself to 8 spells maximum per level in all cases. So there are 9 levels. So I guess we could just make them 8. To save a little bit of memory. We could just combine them. Give it some thought, because if we want to have 9, then we need to store slightly more than we do otherwise. Okay, let's assume that we use 9 bytes here for the clerical spells. A further 9 for the sorcerer spells. Perhaps we would then need to stuff it a little bit. We need to store the clerical and sorcerer spells. It's not a major worry. I'm thinking we might have the class as the full byte here, and then split race and gender into 1 byte. In most games that is the case, yes. I really do want to make it slightly different here, but we'll see. Realistically, yes, it could be a very short list. We've already assigned the skills, probably move it further down here. So how much is this in total? This isn't actually a lot. We haven't used a ton of memory here. We used 8 bytes for the attributes. Then we used 9 bytes further for the clerical spells. That's 41 bytes. We used 9 for the sorcerer spells. That's 50 bytes. This is 51. And this is 53. I'm thinking we leave 11 bytes unused here. So we use a total of 64 bytes per character times 8. That's 512 bytes. That's half a K for the character data. That's not too bad. Obviously, there's a lot more that we need to store, but that's not too bad. Do you foresee an issue, Gleaser, with just having the might, intellect, personality, endurance, speed, accuracy, luck, and so on? Having that just a value that is has a minimum of 0 and a maximum of 99. I don't really like extending these values to an insanely high number, and we should be able to artificially limit it in code, so if it's going to be above 99 or if it will overflow, we'll just reduce it back to 99 so it doesn't accidentally become a 0 or something. So if you somehow manage to increase your abilities to a point where you've reached higher than 99, we will be able to grab that in the code and fix it to 99, so 99 is the max. I think that simplifies the display significantly. Now, we still haven't discussed, there are other things obviously that we need to store here. Not quite done. There are some things that we've already mentioned here that we also need to store. So it's not completely true that we are not going to be using 11 bytes here. We also have hit points. Now the hit points are a different matter. It's certainly not enough for the hit points to be 99. And in addition to that, they need to be able to be negative as well. I think we'll need 2 bytes for the hit points. We'll need to restore it as a... I can't see any other way than storing it as a 16-bit signed value. Because at some point when you go below 0, my thinking is you can go slightly below 0, probably some percentage of the user's total hit points, or however we decide to actually collect that and calculate. We could do that, but I would... We could technically, yes, we could do that. That way we don't actually have to store the signed value. You need more than 1 byte though. Because you need to be able to have more than 255 hit points. Yeah. So that really isn't high enough. And, it's just a matter of how we do this in memory. We could store it as a 16-bit signed value and then display it and convert it to, or we could store it as a 16-bit unsigned value, which is significantly easier to do. And yeah, we could have something like we could add 20 before displaying, so 0 is an absolute 0, and if it reaches 0 the character is dead. But he's unconscious from the point of minus 20 essentially up to 0. So before we display, we add 20 to the value. Now, to be able to display it, we need some routine that can take the unsigned value and change it to BCD, since I will probably use BCD for the display. We need a routine that converts 2-byte. Yeah, true. Yeah. I wonder what is the best way to actually code this. Unsigned or signed values in BCD are a massive pain in the ass. Much simpler to not use them. Perhaps we actually don't need to do that. Perhaps we could just subtract when you enter the routine. We start by subtracting 20. If it's negative, so if we go in, we start by subtracting 20. Now, if the resulting number is a negative number, we need to subtract 20 from both the high byte and the low byte, and we need to do this with a carry. That's not a major pain in the ass. That's simple enough to do. A routine will then just print a minus value, and we just need to find how far along a minus is, and then we'll put the positive into the BCD, and the BCD bytes can't be all positive, and the printout will just take care of putting the minus there. The game will use the 16-bit on-site value in the HP anyway for comparison and so on, so we don't need to worry about that. So if the result is positive, then we convert it into a max 2-byte BCD value, which limits us to 99.99 hit points. That would be the absolute theoretical max of the user's hit points. It can't go above that, and if it does, then we'll, if it overflows to 99.99, we will just print 99.99 anyway. Technically, the game could store more, but you will never be able to print more than 99.99. So it's if you get a crit, it's basically the morale point affects the odds of hitting a blow. But eventually they it's relatively easy to just add that to the random code. So if it's gotten very low, then the chances of actually hitting is very low. So essentially it would be the same as if they were afraid. So they would still get their turn, but the chances of actually hitting is pretty low, even with casting a spell, for example. Or even if the spell hit, it would do very minimal damage, for example. That should be relatively easy to do. You could just you could add it to the random. So we could easily implement this in a way that morale starts at some fixed value, just some X amount. It can be reduced to a minimum of 0, which is affects the random, and it can get higher, in which case the odds of getting a critical hit is higher. I'll give it some thought, but we can store it at least. So at least we sort of know what to do with the hit points. We'll have 56 bytes now. Armor class 1 byte, stored as BC, max 99. I think that's perfectly reasonable. The armor class is limited to 99. The same with the level. Yeah. That's basically what would happen if you got into a long battle with a very low capability enemies and you were a very high level, then you would basically your morale would go way up and you would crit every other blow and you would get rid of them pretty quickly. And if they're way too hard, your morale would get very low, you would stop hitting them and you would die. So yeah, that's certainly a way to go around that. It's a good idea. Where are we here? 57, 58. Now it's a question of the weapons or items, perhaps. How do we store the items? Potentially we store the items the items have lots of attributes, so we need some way of storing the items. We haven't really done any philosophical thinking about the items that the user will carry, but obviously each user will be able to carry an X amount of items at 'You could probably get away with thinking how much actual space we have, or slightly limited by how much we can actually display as well. How many total lines do we have on the display? We have a bit. 12 is probably pushing it though. There are other things that we need to be able to see with the character. We need to be able to see at least all of these. And even if we split it into 2 columns, which is probably what we'll do, we have 9. 10, 11. Maybe 16 or 17. We need at least 8 lines, maybe 9 lines to be able to do this. How many lines do we have left then? realistically. That's about half. We're probably looking at 8, realistically. Squeeze it down to 8. So we can have 8 equipped items and 8 items carried. Oh, this is a separated array, I think. There's a gold value. Now there's a question of how much the max is here. It would be best for us if this was kept to a pretty low value, but I'm thinking we can't really get away with that. This is probably a 4-byte value. Maybe a 3-byte value. Can't have negative gold. So this is a 3-byte unsigned integer that we need to write a routine. This is just for display, so we don't have to store it as a BCD. We will just have to convert it every time. So realistically, to display, we need what? It's a 4-byte BCD. Yeah. Out of space. If we do the same with the experience, I think we can get away with that. We'll just we'll store it as a 3-byte unsigned integer and make sure that it doesn't overroll, and that we can tune the experience so it doesn't go above 16,777,215. It seems like a decently high amount of experience. Doesn't really have to go to 100 million or whatever. We can tune it. It's up to us to set at which point it will advance to the next level and so on. And the level max is something like 99, so we can sort of adjust it. And once it's reached a certain value and we add to it, we will just make sure it doesn't actually roll over. So we should be able to get away with just having 3 bytes here. Does simplify the display a little bit. So we just need one routine here that converts the 24-bit unsigned value to a 4-byte BCD. So we just need to write these 2 different values here. So we don't have to worry about negatives in either the gold or experience. But now we're just dealing with 64 by 8. That's 512 bytes for the character array. And then there's the question of the items. Well, the item obviously has a name, which I think can also be 24 bytes. But I think we'll limit it to 21 max. 20 max, leaving up to because we need to be able to display this as well. What do we call this? I'm sort of wondering whether we should contemplate or whether we should store this just as part of the name of the item. We could also do that. It's just a question of storing it in memory as with the full text with a plus blah at the end. And then just have the attributes here. And we need some sort of type. What are the possible values here? It's a one-handed sword. It's a two-handed sword. But I want to simplify this for us as much as possible. Certain character types can only use certain weapons, so it's probably very good for us to keep this type in a way that we can easily just compare whether we can equip this weapon or not. I have to give that some thought here. So what's the weapons that every possible character class can actually carry around? We don't have to follow any rules any more than we actually want to here. We can make up our own as we go along. The club and dagger generally. So club, mace as well, right? Club, dagger, mace. Yeah, we need some of the ninja weapons, that's true, but they are very limited to a certain character class. And isn't a cleric usually... The cleric is not allowed to use the... Well, by default at least, and in Modern Magic, the cleric isn't allowed to use the dagger. Why wouldn't he be allowed to use the dagger? Yeah, the staff. Everyone can use the staff, right? There shouldn't really be a limit to that. I know there is in Mighty Magic, there is some silly limitation that the robber can't use the stuff, but it doesn't really make sense. I have no idea why that is so limited. It never made sense to me, and I'm not about to have that limitation there. Yeah, we'll get to the armor slightly later. The club, the mace, the staff. My thinking is that we'll put the... I'm at least somewhat interested in having basic arranged things. Yeah, sling. I see no particular reason why every class shouldn't be able to use a sling. So if these are the 4 items that every character class can use, then it's time for the... It's time for the basic armor. Leather armor. No. No ammunition. I hate that. I get very annoyed when I run out of ammunition. So no ammunition. Padded armor. Leather armor. Scale mail. And scale armor. I know there are more limitations in Might and Magic 2 than there is here, but I'd say this is yeah, but I'm thinking these are for everyone. Everybody can wear one of these. Let me start adding things that are specific to each and every class, or specific to particular classes. I'm not sure. That slightly annoys me in some games. Perhaps give it some thought. That's really a programming issue. Then we need some way of storing the weight, so we need to save the weight somehow. What were the classes that we already came up with? Let's quickly get them down here. Already made up some different classes. It's not a ton of different classes because the more we add, the more complicated this gets. Trying to keep things as simple as possible. But we also want the game to be fun, so not stupidly simple. The second group is Knights, Paladins, Archers. Barbarians. Probably, right? Thanks for the follow, Uniric. Welcome in. Nice to see you here. I know that in Mathematic 2, the barbarian can't really use or wield a sword. He can wield quite a few weapons, including it's sort of an artificial limitation. He can wield an axe, a glaive, a spear, the trident, the cudgel, can axes, the bardish. He can use all of these except for the sword. Is that limitation really necessary? Is that because you need more training to use the sword? Is he too dumb to use the sword? Is that the thinking? Maybe. I'm thinking we bypass that limitation though. So we throw them together. So class 2 is knights, paladins, archers and barbarians. They can all use the same. They can all use the same armor and the same weapons. To some extent, maybe. Maybe the barbarian really doesn't fit in here. My thinking is that we need to be able to very easily check this with a value. At least we can group the knights and paladins together. That's easy enough to do. So if we take a very quick gander at what it is that the knights and paladins can use and try to order this in some meaningful way. A sword, a bardish, the axe of various different types, a trident, a scimitar, a spear, the glaive, and the halberd. I'll write that down as a point. We could easily do that. Our game, our decision. So if we keep these, well, these are the 8 different weapons that the knights, paladins, archers and barbarians can use as melee weapons. They're all here in the range from 8 to 16. A new class here, which is the knights, paladins, archers, range weapons. I think we're also safe in bundling those together. And then you have the blowpipe. Which really should be further up. We'll see what we do with the blowpipe. But, the short bow. The ninja can use a bow as well, right? The ninja can use some of the bows, not all of them though. At least a small bow and a blowpipe, yeah. Okay, we'll process this one by one. Okay, crossbow. The elven bow. Hello, Team Maki. Welcome into the channel. A longbow. Likewise. And the thing is, most of these bows are... It could be, yeah, it can be. You can have a spell basically associated with it. That's one of the things that we need to be able to store somehow. Just thinking of how we simplify this as much as possible. Maybe we make another class here. There is a the Naginata is and that's only really variable by I think the knight can use every single weapon, so at least in game 2 knight can use every weapon. And, the ninja can use the Naginata and the nunchakas and is that the 2 weapons basically? There are the katana as well, yeah. So those are the 3 weapons basically. Perhaps the barbarian as well. I'm gonna make a very short list here of things that pretty much everyone can use except the magical users. And this is the blowpipe doesn't belong here. And what do you say we put it here instead of the sling, so everybody can, including the cleric, can use the blowpipe? Put a dagger here. And a knife. Or large knife really. The dagger is a short knife. Yeah, we need to come up with some sort of an item class for that. Right now I'm trying to think of items that the short bow is definitely on this list here. Isn't the crossbow also on this list? Doesn't really need to be here. The axe as well doesn't need to be here. The whip. Certainly be here. Maybe the whip could even... We'll see. The claymore is basically a sword, it's just a two-handed one. I'm trying to think of the top types. Two-handed sword is definitely here. I think we can actually put the sword here and take it out from here. See no problem with that. See no problem with the other characters using the sword. The standard sword, that is. Okay, we could technically add one more item here. There's one more left here on this list. And perhaps we could use that for a piece of armor. Some armor at katana can't be used by anyone but the knight and the ninja. We already have the scale mail and the scale armor. This does require quite a bit of thinking. No, because the magical users can also use the shield, and not everyone, not every of these characters outside of the magical users can actually use a shield. The cleric can use a shield, but the ninja cannot, for example. By default, at least. Although we could mess that around. And what complicates things here in this this arrangement is that we've left the clerics out. We might leave this empty. I think we'll stop for now. It's 1 a.m. The plate armor is just Knight the Paladin, and the robber, for example, and the ninja should not be able to wear the plate armor. So we need a separate class that is basically just the Knight and the Paladin. I have to give some thought as to the best way to store this. This is potentially something that I need to think about a bit, because I don't want to limit our selection too much, but I also want to keep the programming of doing this to a level where it isn't terribly complicated. I think we might leave it here though. It's already 1 a.m. Over on my side. Do we check whether someone is alive and doing something that we're interested in? Preferably something very much retro. Amiga Live is doing something called Blitz Basic Game Jam 2022. Yeah, we might go over his way. Sounds interesting. Sort of upper alley in many ways. I'll start at the rate. Might do another stream on Friday, depends on how much time I have to think about this. Might do another development stream on Friday. If not, I'll see you probably Saturday for more usual Shelltime Saturday action. Till then, guys, you enjoy the rest of your night. Sleep well and have an excellent rest of the week. I'll see you later.